Hello, Philadelphia. As the city wakes up to chilly mornings and the skyline glistens under a pale winter sun, there's a familiar buzz in the air. Al Roker here, bundled up and ready, because it's that time of year again, when everyone's talking, speculating, and maybe even worrying a little about what winter has in store for us. As the last of the autumn leaves drift to the ground and the air turns crisp, one big question starts to echo across the city. Will Philadelphia get buried in snow this year? Or will it be a mild winter with just a dusting here and there? From the long lines at Wawa, where everyone's grabbing their morning coffee, to the chatter in school hallways and office break rooms, the anticipation is building. Kids are already dreaming of snow days, while adults are checking their shovels and salt supplies. Will we see epic blizzards that shut down the city, or will it be a season of light flurries that barely cover the sidewalks? The possibilities have everyone guessing. The answer to this big snow question doesn't just affect our commutes and weekend plans. It shapes our daily routines, our city's energy, and even our sense of excitement as we wait for that first big snowfall. There's something truly magical about the first snow. Overnight, familiar streets are transformed into a sparkling winter wonderland, and the city feels brand new, full of possibility and wonder. But let's not forget, snow isn't just about beauty. It brings real challenges for city services, local businesses, and everyone trying to get around. Plows hit the streets, businesses adjust their hours, and we all adapt our routines. That's why getting an early look at the winter forecast is so important. It helps us prepare, plan ahead, and maybe even get a little excited for what's to come. So, what can we expect for winter 2025-2026 in Philly? We'll explore the latest science, look at weather patterns, and break down what you need to know to be ready, whether you're hoping for snow days or just want to avoid icy roads. So grab your favorite mug of hot cocoa, settle in somewhere cozy, and let's dive into the big snow question together. Winter is coming, and we're here to help you get ready. Predicting what winter will bring months in advance is a bit like piecing together a massive, ever-changing puzzle. There are no crystal balls or magic tricks, just a lot of science, experience, and a dash of intuition. Every winter is unique, and the challenge is to make sense of countless moving parts that all influence what happens here in Philadelphia. At the heart of our forecasts are powerful computer models. These supercomputers take in a mountain of data from the atmosphere, oceans, and land. Everything from wind patterns to sea surface temperatures. They run millions of calculations to simulate how the weather might unfold, hour by hour, day by day, and even months ahead. It's like running a virtual experiment on the future. But computers aren't the whole story. We also turn to the past, digging into decades of historical weather records. By studying analog years, past winters with similar atmospheric setups, we can spot patterns and trends that might repeat. Did those years bring blockbuster snowstorms, or were they mild and slushy? History gives us a reality check for our models and helps us avoid surprises. Looking back at those years, we ask, did Philadelphia get buried under snow, or did we skate by with just a dusting? These clues help us fine-tune our predictions and set realistic expectations for what's ahead. But forecasting isn't just local, it's global. We track big-picture clues like Pacific Ocean temperatures, which can trigger El Niño or La Niña events, Siberian snow cover, and the strength of the polar vortex. These faraway factors can send ripples across the planet, shaping our local weather in surprising ways. For example, when Siberia gets buried in snow early, it can set off a chain reaction that pushes colder air into the northeast, making our winters here in Philly more frigid and snowy. So, we blend it all together. Cutting-edge computer models, lessons from history, and the latest global signals. It's a careful balancing act, weighing each piece of evidence to build the most accurate forecast possible. But remember, weather is never about guarantees. It's about weighing probabilities and talking trends. We can't promise exactly how much snow will fall, but we can give you the most likely scenarios so you can plan ahead. Our goal is simple: to help you get ready for whatever winter throws your way, whether it's a blizzard, a cold snap, or just a few flurries. We want you to feel prepared, not surprised. In the end, forecasting winter in Philly is part science, part detective work, and just a little bit of local intuition. We're always searching for clues, connecting the dots, and doing our best to keep you one step ahead of the flakes. This winter, you'll hear a lot about two major climate patterns, El Niño and La Niña. These names might sound exotic, but they're actually at the heart of what shapes our winter weather, not just here in Philadelphia, but across the entire country. Meteorologists and news anchors talk about them for a reason. They're the main drivers behind the wild swings in temperature, snow, and rain that we experience each year. El Niño and La Niña are like the puppeteers behind the scenes, pulling the strings on our winter story. They influence everything from how cold it gets, to how much snow falls, to whether we get a winter wonderland or a soggy gray season. These patterns are born far away in the Pacific Ocean, but their effects ripple all the way to our doorsteps. El Niño happens when the waters of the Pacific Ocean become warmer than usual, sending extra energy into the atmosphere. La Niña, on the other hand, is when those same waters cool down, changing the way storms and cold air move across the globe. Think of El Niño as turning up the heat, and La Niña as dialing it back. Both of these patterns have a powerful effect on the jet stream, the fast-moving river of air high above us that steers storms and cold fronts. When El Niño or La Niña is in play, the jet stream can shift north or south, changing where storms go and how intense they become. This winter, the latest weather models are pointing to a moderate La Niña. That means the Pacific is cooler than average, and that sets the stage for a very specific kind of winter pattern. For Philadelphia and much of the Northeast, La Niña winters often bring a more active and colder storm track that dives down from Canada. This can mean more frequent storms, colder air, and a greater chance for snow to make its way into our region. When that cold Canadian air collides with moist air coming up from the south, it creates the perfect recipe for snowstorms. The more these two ingredients meet over our city, the more likely we are to see snowflakes piling up on our streets and sidewalks. But here's the catch. The exact path of the storm track is everything. Sometimes a shift of just 50 miles north or south can mean the difference between a heavy snowstorm and a cold rain. It's a razor-thin margin, and it keeps forecasters on their toes all season long. So while La Niña loads the dice in favor of more snow, it doesn't guarantee a blockbuster winter. It simply increases the odds, making big snow events more likely, but not a sure thing. There are other important players too. The Arctic Oscillation and the North Atlantic Oscillation are like wild cards. When they line up with La Niña, they can tip the scales toward a snowier, colder winter. But if they don't, we might end up with a milder, less eventful season. If all these patterns align just right, Philadelphia could be in for a truly memorable winter, with frequent snowstorms and cold snaps that keep us bundled up for weeks. But if the patterns don't cooperate, we could see a tamer winter, with just a few light snowfalls and more days of chilly rain than snow. That's why meteorologists are constantly watching all these signals, updating forecasts as new data comes in. As winter approaches, we'll keep you posted on what to expect, so you can be ready for whatever this season brings. To see what's ahead, let's look back at last winter. Philly had a mild, less snowy season, just under 15 inches, well below the 23-inch average. A weak El Niño brought brief cold snaps, but no big blizzards. Most storms tracked too far west or fizzled out, leaving snow lovers disappointed. The main culprit, the storm track just didn't set up for big snows. This year, with a shift to La Niña, the pattern is changing. We're moving from mild and rainy to a setup that could favor more cold and snow. Meteorologists are watching closely. This winter could be a whole new story. So, what's the outlook for winter 2025-2026? Early signs point to a colder, snowier season for Philly. Expect a wavy jet stream, bringing more frequent blasts of cold Canadian air. That means longer cold spells. Get those heavy coats ready. With La Niña, the storm track is more active near the East Coast, upping the odds for nor'easters and big snow events. I'm forecasting 25 to 35 inches of snow, above the city's average. Of course, there will be mild spells and temperature swings, but the overall trend is colder. The heart of winter, mid-January through February, looks most promising for major storms. Remember, a storm's exact path can change everything, so we'll track each one closely. For now, snow lovers have good reason to be optimistic. Stay tuned as we watch the patterns unfold. What does above-average snow really mean for Philly? The city's average is 23.1 inches per season, but history swings wildly. The record, nearly 79 inches in 2009-2010, Snowmageddon. The least, barely a trace in 1972-73. It all comes down to the storm track. Classic nor'easters, called Miller A and Miller B, are the big snowmakers. Miller A storms ride up the coast. Miller B's start in the Midwest and reform off the Carolinas. La Niña often helps set up the blocking patterns that steer storms our way and lock in cold air. We can't predict the exact number of nor'easters, but the ingredients for a snowy season are lining up. This winter, the odds favor more frequent setups for big snow. Philly could easily top its average if the pattern holds. Philly's snow history is full of wild stories. The biggest storm? January 1996, over 30 inches in 2 days, a true benchmark. Bomb cyclones aren't new here. The '96 blizzard was one, with rapid intensification and blizzard conditions. The earliest snow? October 10, 1979. The latest? April 27, 1874, proving winter can surprise us. The famous I-95 snow line often splits the city. Suburbs get snow, South Philly gets rain. Urban heat and the Delaware River make forecasting tricky. Philly's snow window stretches from October to April, so surprises are always possible. Every winter brings its own drama and stories. That's what makes forecasting here so much fun. When snow's coming, Philly springs into action. The streets department stocks up on salt and preps plows long before the first flake falls. When a storm is imminent, the Emergency Operations Center coordinates citywide response. Over 400 vehicles hit the roads, focusing first on major arteries and emergency routes. Only after main roads are cleared do plows tackle residential streets. Communication is key. Officials use press conferences, social media, and alerts to keep everyone informed. Snow emergencies mean moving cars, off-key routes, so plows can work. Trash and recycling may be suspended, so stay tuned for updates. During extreme cold, Code Blue shelters open for the city's most vulnerable. It's a massive, coordinated effort to keep Philly safe and moving. Now what can you do to get ready? Prep your home, check your heating, seal drafts, and stock up on essentials. Build emergency kits for home and car. Think flashlights, food, water, blankets, and a shovel. Keep your gas tank at least half full to avoid freezing. When storms hit, stay informed and off the roads if possible. Let plows and emergency crews do their work. If you must go out, dress in layers and watch for ice. After the storm, enjoy Philly's winter beauty. Walk, build a snowman, or explore a snowy park. A little preparation and a positive attitude go a long way. We'll keep you updated all season. Stay safe, stay warm, and get ready for a classic Philly winter.